Pellet. From New York, this is Balance of Power on Bloomberg Radio. There's hope that manufacturing may help drive the economic recovery, but a recent survey of the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, which includes key companies like John Deere and Caterpillar, didn't find much optimism. To take us through the state of the industry, we welcome now Kip Eideberg. He is Senior Vice President of the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. So, Mr. Eideberg, thank you so much for being with us. Take us through your survey and what you found.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, David. So the survey, that, as you mentioned, was of 105 CEOs of leading equipment manufacturers. That includes small, medium, large, and multinational ones, and really covering the cross-section of our industry. So we're talking agriculture, construction, mining, utilities, and forestry. And what we found is that the two primary challenges right now for our industry is plummeting demand and stressed supply chains. And that is really what is driving the outlook for the industry over the next 30 days. And about 30% of those CEOs said that they plan to lower their financial outlook by more than 30% over the next 30 days. And 6 out of 10, 60%, said that they plan to lower it by as much as 30% over the rest of the year.
So did you get any sense about a longer-term time horizon? Can they look out beyond 30 days and say 60, 90, 120 days?
Well, I think it depends, and it depends partly on how quickly the economy will open up again, and it depends partly on what Congress will do to help the industry. We believe, and again, this was an interesting finding from the survey, the vast majority of CEOs said that the number one thing that Congress can do right now to help equipment manufacturers to make a significant investment in our infrastructure. That will help the demand for equipment, and it will also help drive the economic recovery. So if Congress can step up, put policy above politics and make that investment, that will certainly help. But I got to tell you, beyond that, we're looking at some pretty tough days ahead for our industry, and particularly for those smaller and medium-sized manufacturers.
So there's been talk about infrastructure for some time, certainly since President Trump came to office, even before that. Not much action. There's talk again about that. But isn't there a lag on that? I mean, if Congress did get together and decide to have an infrastructure bill tomorrow, how long would it be before that really turned into business for your members?
Well, that's a great question, David. And obviously, I think a lot of your listeners will remember the debate about shovel-ready projects a few years ago and whether they were truly shovel-ready. And obviously, the machinery that is our government takes a while to start to move, right? And that is something that we all have to be realistic about when it comes to large investments, whether it's infrastructure or other sectors. But I think first and foremost, it will provide certainty for our industry. So when they look, at the next 30, 60, 90 days, knowing that demand is going to grow certainly helps. One of the things that Congress can do in the short term is to reauthorize the Surface Transportation Program. That's set to expire by the end of September. That's the funding mechanism that funds investment in roads and bridges. So if they can get that reauthorized, I think that would provide immediate certainty. But then obviously it's equally important that state and local government get ready so that they are in a position to spend this money as quickly as possible, because as you pointed out, it does us no good and does the economy no good if Congress authorizes a lot of money and then it takes 60 days, 90 days, more likely, a couple of years before that money's put to use.
You mentioned, obviously, the big issue is demand. There's just not the demand there right now. We've destroyed a lot of demand because of what we did in response to the pandemic. What about supply chain? Are your members concerned that even when the demand comes back, there may be real and perhaps even lasting disruptions to the supply chain?
Yeah, we are very concerned about supply chains. And looking at the survey again, 70% of those CEOs said that they have experienced a negative impact on their supply chains. And going back to what your previous guest said, equipment manufacturers were experiencing some fairly severe difficulties even before the COVID-19 pandemic as it relates to trade and supply chains. Protracted trade war with China, retaliatory tariffs, all had a negative impact on our industry. And so COVID-19 turned a pretty bad situation into a more dire situation. So that is a concern. Obviously, we've had some positive news from some parts of the world. Some Chinese factories are up and running. We're starting to see others come online in parts of Europe. But until we can address the supply chain issues, both here in the United States and globally, it's going to have a negative impact on our industry, and it's going to take some time before things get back to normal, no doubt.
And finally, I'm mindful that Friday is we have non-farm payrolls numbers, jobs numbers coming out for the United States. Give us a sense of employment among the members in your organization. How many people still have their jobs? How many people have lost them?
Well, the good news is that the vast majority of equipment manufacturers have stayed open and on the job during this pandemic. We were designated as essential very early on, and not just our members, but our suppliers and our distributors. So far we have not seen, and I think partly because we've been designated essential, we have not seen, the furloughs and the layoffs that other industries have seen. But as demand continues to go down, as supply chains continue to be more and more stressed, and with the economy being what it is, we expect the situation to get worse here in the next 30, 60, 90 days, as the survey indicates. So right now what we need, and I think an important point here is often overlooked, is the Paycheck Protection Program and what that has was intended to do. We have a lot of small and medium-sized members who are running out of time and cash. And if Congress can't step up and support them, I think you're going to start seeing more furloughs, more layoffs in the days ahead.
That's a good point. It's not all the John Deeres and the Caterpillars. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your being with us today. That is Kip Eidenberg of the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. And now let's check in on an equity market that seems to be doing pretty well. We go to Charlie, doing pretty well.